the U.S. is not ruling out an attack on Iran.
Nope.
Right? We've seen things get worse and worse. The U.S. has blamed Iran for attacks coming from Iraq. And of course, this is all related to the terrorists that the U.S. helped fund and create and radicalize, just like they've done in Ukraine. And this is a cycle that keeps repeating. And so the Syrians and the Iraqis have been trying to put down these forces that have been trying to destabilize their government. And so what's ended up happening is that the United States sort of needs these entities to destabilize these countries. So again, the United States has no business in Syria, but there they are, right? They have bases there. They've been doing drills. They've been attacking Israel, of course, every day attacks Syria, and has been going after Lebanon.
We saw the oil. We took the oil. We're taking the oil. They owe us, so we need the oil from Syria. We have to take it to get paid back from all the money and lives we lost when we invaded them. Why are we in Syria in the first place? Once again, you can't be America first if you're Israel first. You're fighting their regional wars. That's what you're doing. All these people have dual citizenship. They care about Israel more than anything. Even the whole situation we're dealing with right now, we have this bill, right? We have this bill that came into play where the Senate is introducing a bill, and Chuck Schumer's at the helm of it too as well, where they want like $181 billion of I don't even know what the numbers are right now, but the majority of it is going to Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
But then you have the new speaker, Mr. Johnson, who says, well, we're going to do a standalone bill for Israel, right? Standalone bill for Israel, fam. You can't be America first if you're going to be Israel first. You're fighting all the regional wars. That's why we're in Syria. That's why we're still in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? And this whole, it's just ridiculous what's going on. But let's bring this up because at the end of the day, fam, I don't think this is true. I think that the neocons at the end of the day want to eventually pivot to China. And they are trying to get at least an attack inside Iran. But I don't believe that they're going to do this because I believe that the United States knows that if they try to go into Iran, they'll lose, and they'll lose badly. They're already spread thin, and so much money wasted in Ukraine for nothing.
I don't know if they know that, fam.
What's that?
I genuinely think there are people in this apparatus that we live in, this military intelligence apparatus that's ruling the country, that think they can easily beat Iran. They are under this idea that they can because they're American and that they have the best weapons and the best military and that everybody will just follow their lead. And I think they are crazy enough to do this. And unfortunately, that is where I'm at right now with them because they are definitely a lot of Lindsey Graham's and in power. And
but I do believe there's a piece of the Pentagon that understands that a war with Iran will be deadly right now and it would just hurt them politically more than it will help them. I believe it's a little bit of both. I do believe there are people who think that no matter who we fight, when we fight, that we will get them and we will beat them. But I do believe there's people within inside, the Pentagon, the State Department, within Biden's cabinet, just in government that understand that if we try to go to war with Iran, we will lose and we will lose badly because there are people who have so much grit and gut. You know what I'm saying? They've been fighting this machine and mechanism for so long that they're prepared for this, and we are not. Let me do my Brett Baer over here really quick for Jake Sullivan. Jake Sullivan refuses to rule out U.S. airstrikes in Iran. Sullivan claims the U.S. doesn't seek war as it bombed Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on Sunday refused to rule out direct U.S. airstrikes inside Iran while discussing the widespread bombing the U.S. launched in Iraq and Syria on Friday. Appearing on CNN's State of the Union, Sullivan signaled the bombing campaign is not over, saying the U.S. is planning more actions. When asked if the U.S. ruled out launching attacks in Iranian territory, he said, look, sitting on national TV program, I'm not going to rule in and rule out any activity anywhere. The U.S. launched the strikes in response to the drone attack that killed 3 U.S. troops on a small base in Jordan on the Syrian border. The U.S. blamed Iran for the attack because it arms the Shia militias the U.S. believes were responsible, but acknowledges it had no evidence Tehran was involved. Fam, there's so much sit there to unpack all the time. If you're going to sit there and you're going to hold Iran accountable for arming people that are going to kill your U.S. troops, what about the U.S. arming the world in all these proxy wars? What the hell's going on with, I mean, then therefore, Vladimir Putin and the Russian Federation are completely justified if you go by this rationale right here, that it's the Iranians who are arming the Houthis, who are arming Hamas, right? They're arming the world. If there's anybody that's arming anybody that we have beef with, it's coming from Iran, just because they're trying to manufacture consent to go in there. But if you're going by that logic openly, we armed Saudi Arabia to the T. Even Donald Trump, we armed the Ukrainians to the T. By that logic, aren't we just as guilty as them, fam, as Iran?
So here's the thing. The axis of resistance, okay, the axis of resistance is working together in terms of cooperation. But this is Hasbara propaganda that says, oh, Yemen is getting everything from Iran. Syria is getting everything from Iran. Lebanon is getting everything from Iran. No, these are all individual resistance aspects that are sort of under this umbrella. And Iran isn't in charge of anybody. But Iran is looked at as a leading figure, obviously, because they have more money. They are more militarily equipped. They have a huge army. And so that is why it's very easy to pivot towards Iran. And the U.S. has been wanting to go to war with Iran for a very long time. So that's essentially why you're seeing that.
Yeah. Fam, let me read a little bit more. Come out and come back in because you're frozen. You there? Oh, now you're
yeah, I'm here.
You're good. So I don't have to read.
Okay.
I don't have to read more. But it did say when announcing the strikes, the U.S. Central Command said it targeted Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, Quds Force, and affiliated militia groups. Direct U.S. attacks on Iranian personnel risk provoking a major war with Iran. But so far, there's no indication the U.S. bombing killed any Iranians. Oh, I bet you there. Fam, you should see, like, Fox News is back to Iraq war full swing the way they were before. The Iranian Ayatollah is the new Hitler. We need to stop these people. I mean, Kennedy said they wanted to drink. This is John Kennedy from Louisiana. The senator said they want to drink our blood out of boots. This is the mentality we have over here. And
don't even wear
Fox
boots.
News bringing on every single retired general or colonel or whatever to say this is what we need to do and how we need to do it. They're all in for war. People have to understand at the end of the day, and this is something I think they've gotten lost in the sauce, especially when it comes to MAGA or the populist right, where they think they can justify going with the right-wing news because the left-wing news has been so awful that, in some situations that the right-wing news has been a little bit more pro-speech than the left-wing news. But when you open up the curtain, you see what's going on, you'll see, and if you watch a lot of these hearings, that they don't care about censorship either. They just feel that they're censoring the wrong people. And they'll censor the hell out of pro-Palestinian voices, pro-Iranian voices, pro-Chinese voices, you know what I'm saying? They'll censor them. So they're just the same thing. They're just the other side of the coin. It just looks a little prettier right now at this point in time. But they'll go right back to it. I mean, they're doing it right now. They showed their whole ass fucking face when it came to this whole situation in Israel.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is a very, very old playbook that they keep using time and time again. And I think Americans who went through the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan should see through it. But it seems like some people are still brainwashed, especially when it comes to the Middle East. When it comes to Russia, Ukraine, you can see the conservatives sort of, okay, but they have this, and this is what it's tied to, right? It's the whole Muslim thing. They have this thing against these people because they still perceive them as terrorists. So it's very easy to convince them that there is some sort of aggression there and that these people want to take over America and they want to impose Sharia law. This is literally what they think. And so it's hard to convince them otherwise. This is why there's an affinity to Israel, because they see Israel as a Judeo, closer to Christianity. It's a Judeo-Christian type of thing. Whereas the Arab world, they don't understand it. They don't they don't see it. They don't humanize it, which is why the whole Palestinian issue and the whole issue with Yemen has been largely ignored until it couldn't be ignored. So this is the hypocrisy, I think, of the right. This is why I don't, I'm not surprised that they pivoted. And a lot of people who are outside the US are like, wait a minute, why were these people for, Russia, but they're so bad on Israel, Palestine, and they want to go to war with Iran? It's because, well, their whole ideology is, okay, like we support like Christian nations and in these nations that are not Arab, but when it comes to Arabs, when it comes to the Middle East, it's they have this prejudice against them. And I know people don't like to talk about racism, but that is a part of it. But it's also this fear of this religion that they just don't understand. And
and they just think that everybody's radical, but they don't realize why they've been radicalized. The people who do want to kill us, and it's because, once again, we support all these crazy groups, from the Mujahideen to ISIS right now. ISIS wasn't in Iraq years ago until we went in there and invaded the whole place and wiped it out. We had in Iraq had so many Christians in the north, and now they're all gone. All their sacred land is gone. All their relics are gone. It's just terrible. So people have to understand who's pulling the strings. We witnessed this in Latin America with the murder death squads that's still going on to this day. Supporting the against the Sandinistas. Help me out, fam. I forgot the name. Who do we support against the Sandinistas? Against the Sandinistas?
The Contras?
The Contras is against the Sandinistas. By the way, what's her name? The one who's on The View, the Latino one, her dad was a Contra. So if I can forget that and shit like that.